to commit resources to it. Breton Sèche realizes it's their turn to put someone into it. AG Tour Le Mondial, well, keeping Samy Dumoulin right to the fore, sitting fourth wheel at the moment. Geniez, as I said, stage win of Vuelta a España in 2013, second on GC in the Tour of Luxembourg a couple of years before that. Stage victory in Tour of Austria. Healthy collection of results, 13th in overall in the Tour of Italy last year. The stage victory was a solo affair into Périgueux in the Pyrenees in the Vuelta a España a couple of years ago, heading Michele Scarponi and Nicholas Roche on that occasion. Well, he's had his day in the sun, had a day in the clouds this afternoon, or the relatively overcast conditions. Now, a little bit of a panic on is there from you?
A bit of crosswind there, just the wind coming from the right to the left there. But it'll soon change as we go around this corner. So Van Summeren just keeping Dumoulin well out of trouble. But Europcar come towards the front. He just looks behind. He's lost the head of the peloton. But some damage been done just at the back end of the peloton. Some riders starting to be distanced now.
Yeah, the pain is really going on there right throughout the bunch, as you say, Brian. Look at the way we just saw Cofidis starting to move up. And more instruction and encouragement for Geniez, now down to 45 seconds as we reach 10 kilometers to go in Grand Prix de Denain. Geniez pushing hard with all he's got, with all his might. No great results so far this season, but this has certainly tuned him up nicely for events and races to come. Ten kilometers, Grand Prix de Denain, 2015, and just 45 seconds to the lone leader out front. Turgot, if he hasn't already been mopped up very shortly, will be by the charging peloton led by the Europcar squad. Ryan Coquart sitting fourth wheel there, just nestling inside the shoulder of one of his teammates as they put, well, their diminishing resources onto the front. They're starting to lose riders, of course, and this will affect their lead-outs. The ideal situation, of course, is that someone else does all the chasing and you have 6 or 7 riders that are able to take you into the finish. Very rarely does that happen, so for all the planning they do for their lead-outs, they have to plan for several different eventualities, and they have to be able to think on their feet, and of course they don't have race radios, so this absolutely has to be done by the riders themselves out on the road. There's no control from the team car behind. This little left-right piff-paff section of tarmac could well be a little bit of a pinch point for the bunch behind. Geniez with time to adjust his glasses. Europcar charging behind. Jan van Summeren sitting as the lead AG Tour Le Mondial rider. That's the rider sitting in third with the white and brown colours. He's got his team leader Samuel Dumoulin nestled inside his well, it couldn't be, they're probably the tallest rider in the peloton and the shortest rider in the peloton. Wouldn't be much between them.
You can just see Cofidis towards the front now. They have been controlling this race pretty much all day. They had some help from Bardiani. Again, no rider in the top 10, 15. So they're just sitting back. Still a long way to go. 8.5 kilometers to go to the finish. This rider was an original breakaway of 3 riders. Denain Porte, the 27-year-old Frenchman. And he'll be soon swept up, but the nature of the course, the last 3 kilometers pretty flat. I've already seen it 4 times already, so it'll be a very, very fast finish. So a lot of the team just sitting back, saving their energy, because this is going to be a very, very fast finish.
It certainly is. Geniez, what a great effort. How much longer can he hold out? 35 seconds now, and the gap is plummeting fast. He's losing 10 seconds every, 2 kilometers at the moment, maybe even a little bit more than that. 15 seconds lost in the last 2 kilometers as I peer over at Brian's careful notes, and that is the indication that all the steam has gone out of Geniez, and by contrast they're coming up from all parts of the bunch now to make a contribution. Really is some contrast between Van Summeren and Dumoulin.
But Van Summeren is doing a terrific job. All he's doing is keeping Dumoulin out of trouble, right towards the front of the peloton. Sam Dumoulin doesn't really want or demand a lead-out. He just wants to be kept near the front, and he'll use the other lead-outs when they come up. Still 7.4 to go, 25 seconds to this man. He's been out front pretty much all day with 2 other riders. When he is swept up, it'll be left to another brunch sprint. Not a surprise here in Grand Prix de Denain. but it's going to be really, really fast. Very difficult to control the peloton. As we see, the weather has been brilliant for the race today. Not a lot of crosswinds, dry, and a very fast-moving peloton with Ginny in their sight.
We're heading back in towards Denain. It's been a long day in the saddle, just shy of 200 kilometres, well over 190 at this point. Riders starting to peel off for Breton Sèche as they leave one rider on the front now to contribute to the effort with Team Europcar. It's the French squads that are taking control here. No surprise in that. Breton Sèche, followed by Europcar, followed by AG Tour Le Mondial. And those are the riders that are attempting to boss the peloton. And as Brian has said, no sign of Cofidis, who took big responsibility. No sign, too, of Bardiani's CSF. And just as I said, we see the distinctive green colours, lime green, plain green colours. There's also the black and green of Breton Sèche, who are largely anonymous for much of the afternoon, now very much on the front. And they're piling it on. 20 seconds now to Geniez, almost forgotten at this point, because inevitable that he's coming back into the fold as they really start to get the wind-up on, and not too many riders are capable of getting involved in it up front.
The thing is, it's a big road, Declan, and there's no real panic. It's not a huge peloton either. So you just see that some of the riders from Cofidis, I think Brian Cocard was back there as well, just sitting back, because a lot of these riders, remember, second division, third division riders, they cannot ride too much in the front at over 50 k's an hour. Just on the right hand side, you see the red colours of Cofidis starting to come towards the front. I still think it's a little too early, 6 kilometres to go, because they are going to have to ride to maintain that position over 50 kilometres an hour. Okay, they've got one of the fastest riders on their tails, but how many are there? They've got 4 riders in front of Bohani.
Oh, and Van Summeren decided to move to the left, as so many other riders went to the right of that little bit of road furniture. The road furniture not really significant in this part of the world. We're in what you might call French Flanders, but, well, very much in France, and it's a little bit more benign in terms of the hazards they face on the road, and as a result of that, teams are able to get themselves a little bit more organised. Roubaix-Lille Metropole, Team Rampot as well getting involved. Geniez still out front, 12 seconds to the good. Just over 5 kilometres remaining in Grand Prix Denain, and it's winding up for a big sprint finish on the Rue Arthur Roubaix. I'm trying to remember his name. He deserves to be remembered. He's remembered with a name. He'll be remembered very shortly by a big peloton as they arrive to the finish line in one big massed ranks, as Geniez gets the arms flopped across the tops again. A little shake of the head as if to say, well, it's been a big effort, but it's all come to naught. A valiant effort. It was worthwhile. He got his name on television. He got the colours of his team and his sponsor, Française de Jeu, on the television for a significant amount of time, and enhanced his reputation in the process. Team Europcar moving up on the right-hand side of screen. Now it's starting to get a bit busy up there, isn't it? And look who's at the front all of a sudden, as if by magic. Cofidis arrived back at the front inside 5 kilometres to go. So now the team of the reigning champion, Nasser Bouhanni, is back in control at the front of the bunch inside 5 kilometres to go. Cofidis on the front. Nasser Bouhanni nestling towards the back of their group, and the other teams will be relatively satisfied to leave them there. That little S-bend, a potential danger point, but safely negotiated by the peloton. And across this bridge, a bridge too far for Geniez, well, almost. Has a look behind, I think perhaps for the first time in well over 100 kilometres. Breakaway taking a little while to establish itself. When it did, the boss of the trio that were out front for so long has been Alexandre Geniez of Française de Jeu. A little shake of the head. It's been a great effort. Give him a big cheer. Now, let's think about getting ourselves organised for the sprint coming up very shortly. So that's the Team Marseille, Wallonie-Bruxelles, and Wanty Group Gobert, of course, on the front. As they have, looks like Valenschut, Belgian rider. Oh, and the riders going down on the left-hand side of the peloton. Not sure who we lost there. Looked like just a couple of riders. Touch of wheels, and relatively few riders involved in that one, as riders from Wanty Group Gobert just looking around to see if any of their riders have been affected by it. Other cameras picking that one up. I wonder, will we get a replay just to give us... I just looked up to see a couple of riders on the floor. Cofidis back at the front. Brief moment of glory for Wanty Group Gobert in terms of bossing the peloton. Will they be able to get back into position and pick up their sprinter? No radios, of course. And Bouhanni just has a little jink. You see him with the black helmet there at the back of this group of red-coloured riders from Cofidis. That's the rider, that's the defending champion.
Well, he does have numbers. He has 4 teammates in front of him, and perfect situation for them with 2.3 kilometres to go. But it just doesn't look fast enough, and they're going to be challenged. They're already being challenged in the left-hand side by that other red outfit with the black shorts, and that's Lotto Soudal. So a lot of riders will just be sitting back, waiting and waiting. But the Cofidis riders really need to try and up this tempo here to try and keep Bouhanni towards the front.
What's interesting, that Teish Benoit is the man from Lotto Soudal, and they're down to just 3 riders left in this race this afternoon. So it's the red of Lotto in front of the red of Cofidis at the moment. As Teish Benoit made a big name for himself in the Flanders Classics within the last couple of weeks. That has run to the front as it starts to get a little bit hectic further back. Top Sport Vlaanderen looking to get involved towards the front. Riders from the Marseille squad switching left and right around that little bit of road furniture, and Benoit trying to set something up. Looks as if it's Boris Vallet is the 3rd rider in line for the Lotto Soudal team in red. Just behind them, the red of the Cofidis squad. Now we see Bardiani CSF moving to the front. The lime green colours of Bardiani CSF, of course, who have Raffoni, who will perhaps fancy his chance. Androni Giocattoli also starting to get involved. Remember, they've got the man who finished 3rd last year, Francesco Chicchi, in amongst their number. And lots of elbows and heads flying as riders try to maintain position.
Yeah, they're getting challenged all the time. They have to be very careful Bouhanni doesn't get blocked in here, because they just aren't riding fast enough to keep the other teams at bay. They're starting to be challenged by Rompot, also Europcar, plenty of other teams moving towards the front. You'd expect at this point in the race that it would be flat out. It would be over 50 k's an hour. They lose another rider, and where is Bouhanni there? It's just 1 kilometre to go.
Inside the final kilometre as we race towards the finish line in Grand Prix Denain, and have Cofidis got what it takes to present the man who's sitting 3rd in line now, as is Cofidis, that take it up and head towards the finish line. So it will be left to the red of Cofidis to take it up and set things up for Nasser Bouhanni, the man who's sitting 3rd in line at the moment, and just behind him, representing Lotto Soudal, that looks like Boris Vallet, who's looking to freelance his way into a decent position, but it's Cofidis that have it, and the man sitting with Dossard, number 1, now sitting 2nd in line. So it's a long lead out to the line for Nasser Bouhanni. He could well be presented a little bit further out than he might like. So Bouhanni is hoping that his final lead out man is going to be able to hang on for as long as possible. It's Jeffrey Soup who's been asked to go. Now we see as Bouhanni launches in a big way, and he's stretching his advantage. No one's going to stop Nasser Bouhanni. He defends his title. He takes Grand Prix Denain 2015. It was relatively straightforward in the end. It was textbook stuff, and Nasser Bouhanni takes the victory, and his first victory of the season. He'll be absolutely delighted with that. Superb performance from Nasser Bouhanni. He gets his hands in the air. Nothing to stop Cofidis this afternoon. I say his first race win of the year. He's had a couple of wins so far. Of course, he took victory in Circuit Cycliste Sarthe Pays de Loire, but he'd be absolutely delighted to have defended his victory in the Grand Prix Denain from 2014. All seemed very straightforward in the end. He gets a grin.
I'll tell you what, his team didn't look over easy. They kept on getting challenged, not maybe riding fast enough in that lead out, but the sprint of Bouhanni looked very fast. You can just see blanket finish behind, a lot of riders all over the place. It'll be interesting to see a couple of Rompot riders up there in the sprints. Well, it was one Rompot, one Leo Metropole. So, yeah, just kind of almost headbutting each other on the left-hand side. But Boris Vallet gets 2nd, but